It's Dee from Diabetic Soups, and I'm back. Today I'm going to do another soap cake. I'm just trying a different method of doing my lye and butters. It's called the heat transfer method, and where you actually add your hot lye to your hard butters and oils, and then the just process of the hard oils cools the as they melt, they cool the lye temperature down, and then once it's all dissolved you add your soft oils. So in my bucket here I've got cocoa butter, coconut oil and shea butter, and in my lye I have salt and sugar and a little toast of silk, and we'll just see how this experiment goes. Now I'm going to strain the lye, because there's a little bit of silk in there and a bit of lye lint, and we'll just see how this goes. So the story is to add a little bit at a time. Put it over here so you can see what's happening. So you can see I've got the hot lye in there, and it's kind of melting the hard oils and the butters. So if this cuts down on time on it takes to wait till the lye to cool, I might adopt this method every time. We'll just see how it goes. I'm doing it on the soap cake, which is going to be a Mochaccino cake, because it's a fairly easy recipe and there's not too much swirling or what have you, and cakes as a general rule are fairly easy to do. Let's see how that goes. This takes a little while, as you probably can tell, so I'll probably speed this up for you guys watching the video. So let's have a look. Lye temperature is 35 degrees C, and it's 27 and hot at the moment. So I usually soap at room temperature, so need this to get down to 20 degrees by the time the melt's finished. And we've added the soft oils. Because I'm doing a coffee based recipe today, I've used a little bit of coffee infused oil that I've made myself. Again, adding to the back of the spoon so the lye doesn't splash. So it's just a process of letting this continue to melt. Let's have a look. What are we at the moment? So the oils have gone up to 41 degrees now. I've got all the lye in there. So So if you don't mind standing stirring for a wee bit, this could have possibilities, rather than having to wait however long it takes for the lye to cool to the temperature you want it. So in the second jug I've got my olive oil, which part of it is coffee infused. I've got my kale and clay, my coconut cream, also castor oil, and I think that's all for the soft oils. So the coffee infused oil has given it that sort of creamy brown colour. I've still got a few wee small chunks in here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the cold soft oils, and then let the blender do the rest. Pop that in there. Okay, alright, so let's see what the temperature's like. Well, it's still quite warm at 35. Which is a little bit warmer than what I normally do for a soap with swirls, but because this one's just a very simple, basically split off and pour, I think this should be alright. So I've just mixed it to emulsification. Wait for that to set up and we'll set that aside. Okay, so the next bit to be off is what I'm going to use for the piping. So I need 16 ounces. So into this one, I'm going to add some fresh coffee grounds. this one I'm going to add a little white. And into this one I'm going to add, excuse me, reaching across the screen, cocoa powder. And these two accent colours are just going to give me a swirl inside the other soap. So you've probably gathered, if you've been watching me soap for a wee while now, you'll notice that I do prefer to use as natural as I can ingredients for my soaps. If I ever want a chocolate colour, I always use actually pure cocoa powder and not a colorant. Same for coffee. If I want something coffee coloured, I use actual coffee grounds, fresh ground beans that I grind myself. And the coffee infused oils and what have you, again, I also make myself. So I like to know what's actually in the ingredients that I'm using, as much as I can. Okay, so you can see some nice rich chocolate from the chocolate swirl. For the white, it's actually a creamy white because of the colour come through from the coffee infused oil. So it's not going to look bright white, it's going to look sort of like a nice vanilla cream colour. And of course the base, it's got the colour from the coffee grounds and from that coffee infused oil. Right, let's see how that base is doing and see if it's ready for me to pour on top. Let's get rid of that for now. Yeah, so that looks reasonably firm. So I'll just very carefully sorry about that. For some reason my camera switched off. So I'm just leveling this out a little bit. So what I'm going to do with these here is just do a drop swirl. Going to get a skewer and swirl that. Right, so all I need to do now is just wait for that to set up. Oops. Probably help if you could actually, I soaked it, had that in front of you, wouldn't it? So, probably missed a lot of that. So basically I just was swirling in here. And I went down quite deep into the base as well, so the base will be swirled, not just the top. Right, so I'm just going to leave that to set up and the piping to set up, and then I'll be back to pipe the top. Hi, I'm back. I've just had a bit of a tidy up, or have you? Waiting for the piping to set up. This is still a bit soft, but it should be able to hold the weight of the piping. So here goes. Right, so I'm going to do a bit of a coffee sprinkle. Focus for this one. And just a touch of gold glitter. Right. So there she be, a Mochaccino soap cake. So thank you for watching, and I'll bring you back once this is solidified and hardened up and for the cutting. Hi everyone, back for the cutting of the Mochaccino cake. I've left it in the mould for a couple of days, and I've had it out of the mould unmoulded for a day. So as you'll probably see, we've stuck some coffee beans on the top of the swirls. That was actually my daughter's brilliant idea. I was actually going to try and make some melt and pour coffee bean embeds, but she said, well, why don't you've got real coffee in the cake, why don't you use real beans? So there we have it. The first cut I'll do with a knife, just to cut it in half, and then I'll be putting it in my number 8 mitre box to do the sectional cuts with my homemade wire cutter. I just find that's the easiest way to cut up soap cakes. Now, unfortunately, I removed it from the mould before actually marking the sections from that are marked on the mould, so it's going to be a bit of guesswork today. What it looks like on the inside. Put that aside. Okay, so just line this up so for the centre. Unfortunately, when I did my piping, the piping wasn't placed too well, so my dollops aren't going to be right in the middle of each piece evenly. So let's get that out of there first. Guys, so that's my first piece. Quite like those swirly bits in there. Okay, so that's basically how I cut a soap cake. We'll get that into the rack to cure, and it'll be ready to use in about 4 to 5 weeks. I just want to thank you for watching me soap, and we'll see you next time. This is Dee from My Party Soaps, signing off.